Mtash, Kana, and Rivenus will join me. We're gonna argue, we're gonna debate, or maybe we'll just all get along super well and hammer this tier list out in no time at all. Let's try to actually rate a couple characters, and I'm gonna choose the first one. Let's just get it out of the way. We can put Verina in the S tier. Does anyone disagree with this?
Whoa. With the hot take
All
here.
right, sorry, man.
Whoa.
Okay, well, we'll move her down where she belongs. And if you're watching this video, stop watching this video on a boring browser. Watch it on Opera GX instead, the perfect browser for gamers. GX Mods provides tons of ways to unborify your web browsing experience, with custom backgrounds, music, keyboard sounds, tab sounds, and the completely optional Paimon sounds. Just visit the GX store for tons of official and user-generated mods for your favorite games like Genshin Impact. And Opera GX now has incredible animated wallpapers. Just go to customization and get more wallpapers. Opera GX is also smarter than ever with its smart AI prompts. Just have your AI buddy summarize articles or even do your homework for you. Highlight some text or use it from your address bar. There's also ChatGPT and ChatSonic integration, which you can access easily from your sidebar. And switching to Opera GX is super easy, allowing you to instantly import your previous browser's setting. And it's even compatible with every Chrome extension. So what are you waiting for? Use my link below to download Opera GX today. Huge thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video.
We actually need a separate tier for her, which would be like S+, and there is a very simple reason for that.
Okay.
So Verina is incredibly easy to build. The only thing you need on her is ER and a 4-star weapon. This thing literally just allows Verina to have a very, very simple rotation. And I mean, the thing is we have a selector, so it's not like she's impossible to obtain. You literally can just select her. And I personally think that is something which also sets her even more apart from the other 5 stars, because all the other 5 stars kind of want a 5-star weapon. She is happy with a 4-star weapon at R1.
I wanted to add on to this. In terms of Verina being power crept, right? This game actually does not have any dedicated supports yet. Verina is like a healer plus support character. We don't even know what support characters are going to be like in this game. Someone will have to get 3 new supports that are better than Verina to completely squeeze her out. That's going to take a long time.
It's like, Sparkle came out and she's cracked in Honkai Star Rail.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean Bronya is bad. Like, Bronya is insanely good. I think it's a very similar situation. It's going to be potentially a year, maybe even 2 years before they completely squeeze her out. But you need 3 teams. Like, she is going to be good.
Let's do Rover next.
Okay, maybe not actually S, but I would definitely say it's not like a hot take to put them in the S- tier over A.
Agreed. You can also, if you invest in them and they do bring out the other elements and they're better, you've already invested in the character. And the other thing that I don't think has been talked about is even the ascensions for the characters, much like Genshin, are free. You don't have to use energy or wave plates on them. So for me, like, it's going to be a no-brainer build. And I just think people need to understand that the MC in this game is good. At least in my opinion, I'm going to be maining that character. And damage-wise, the actual mathematics, maybe they're 8. Maybe they're not the absolute best, but I think value should matter in tier level.
Okay, next one. YangYang.
I don't know. I think she's unique enough with the energy funneling that she'd be S-, but at least A tier. I don't know why they're putting her in B tier.
Here's my thought about it. Well, first of all, YangYang's vacuuming potential is not nearly as good as like Venti's or even Jianxin's. How about we compromise? We put her in the top of A for now, and we can revisit later. If we feel like the other characters around her, like if she sticks out, right? If she sticks out, as in like she's not good enough.
Sounds good.
Chixia, I like her a lot. She has finger guns. You see that?
Right.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe S+.
Yeah, that's OP. That's OP.
Finger guns. All right, guys. We're done with this tier list. We don't need to talk about her.
It's technically a very solid DPS. The only problem she has is all of her damage is in her forte. If you get interrupted during your turbo bullet thing or before you do your pow, she loses like 80%.
Encore next. Anyone have any strong opinions of her? I personally agree with the tier 0.5 placement. Personally, I think she's a bit better than Rover as well. But what do you guys think?
Okay, part of me thinks that no matter what, just because of, despite her like being a little bit harder to play and like not having as many options or like the same exact options as other characters, like I would want to like maybe drop her a little bit or dock her a little bit, but honestly, like she does a lot of damage. If I'm not mistaken, like literally the second highest damage potential in the game.
I see the damage, but I'm not in love with her personally. I think just because of the lack of... You can counter in her ultimate, though.
Okay, Calcharo next. The next featured 5-star character. I mean, I think we can just keep this simple. I feel like he's... I agree with Pridewind's placement for these two characters personally. Do any of you guys like have any stronger opinions on this?
Good unit. I personally love to play, and with Yinlin coming, I see him just getting better and having, you know, a great option to support him.
The only question is, does he go up? I think without Yinlin, I would still keep him here, but there is an argument with Yinlin he could be in the S tier, right?
He needs Yinlin. Without Yinlin for the next 3 weeks, I don't know who to play him with. He doesn't have another
next 3 weeks, we're picking mints and punching rocks. Okay, like
wrong game.
Whoa.
No, there's knock to mints in this game. Okay, all right. We're focusing. we're farming onions. All right. What is this tower that you're talking about? Okay, next character. Jianxin is her name, right? Yeah. Okay. I still need to remember all the names of the characters. So, okay, I have a hot take on this. I think she's an A tier character. Okay, and I guess I'll go first. This is because, again, I think there will always be 10 stamina worth of trash to clean in the tower. And for her, slap on energy recharge, and you just press Q and let everyone else do the work.
Building potential, the grouping potential. Her DPS numbers, maybe they aren't the best, but I think she is like someone, if you built her, I don't think you're gonna like regret it or hate it.
If I would need to place her regarding how much fun I had playing her, it would be F tier. Not even. For me, that was not fun, personally. Right now, she is not in the best position. However, her outro also gives liberation damage bonus. And I think that's very valuable. The only problem right now is there's no character currently who needs that.
Hey, what about our girl Chixia from earlier? Remember? 0 frame ultimate.
Yeah, but then you would need to play Chixia.
We can move on to the best character in the game. Our boy, Lingyang. Yes, I don't know anything about him I don't know anything about him in CBT 1, but I can tell you about him in CBT 2. I could not stand using him. It was horrible. It was horrible. He was so janky, and you know, it just felt like I had to work 10 times as hard to do damage with him as with any other character.
I think we can place him in B below Chixia.
Wait, we're moving him down?
Yeah, certainly.
Oh, okay. All right.
Below Chixia, because Chixia at least feels good to play.
He doesn't exist in the air and he doesn't exist on the ground. He's just this big, giant, tall tower that gets crushed by everything.
Oh my gosh.
At least that's what I found. Or, you know, it's just like, it feels like you're in an animation and you just can't dodge properly. So I do not like the character. Does not feel good to play to me. Like, the attacks feel fine, but when you go into boss fights, he fell absolutely off a cliff.
Maybe he's godly now, but at least based on what we can remember from CBT2 as well as whatever else, he just doesn't feel good to use. Danjin, there's a lot of hot takes with this character.
So the problem is, for most casual players, I to be honest, I really hope Kuro will like post like end of year statistics, how many players died using Danjin, because I think that will be more than we have humans on the entire planet. Most casuals will just die over and over with her and then stop playing her. However, if your name is Rexland or Stepadu, you probably can just solo every single boss in the entire game. I think it's an investment character with a high risk and high reward.
She's really funny because if you enjoy trolling yourself, she's a great character. Because she's the only character that I would consistently die with in the overworld. Like, I'd go up and try to beat up a turtle, and Danjin would just die. So
we kind of agree all that she's just A tier and can be either B or C tier or also S minus, depending on how well you play. But Danjin is also the literally only unit in the game who does not need any ER, like literally 0%.
Yeah. And she has some of the longest sustained DPS windows, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and she can parry really well. She was able to stack her forte without
Yes.
literally doing, like, you didn't need to hit anything. I
You-
think that was
you
really
know-
broken.
You know who else could do that? Chixia.
Well, no, she doesn't count.
Okay. The next best character in the game, C tier, Aalto.
I will not comment on him.
Isn't his like outro skill at least potential for arrow characters? Like it's an arrow damage boost, so like there's got to be some utility there. He is ranged, so like maybe you can kite enemies. So no spots. Where's Taoqi?
I actually know nothing about this character. I like the way she looks though.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The biggest honkers I've ever seen in my entire life.
He's just gonna go out and say
Oh.
it. So.
I didn't notice. I thought she had a great personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're right.
I can only say two things. Number one is her damage is by far the lowest in the game, even below Verina. It's not even close.
Wow.
Because the problem is you need her basic attacks, which scale off attack, to build Concerto somehow, but you kind of want to build defense because everything else scales off defense. So I'm not really sure how she would be played effectively, to be honest. She doesn't do much, in my opinion. But if you have a lot of skill issues and just want to get hit 24/7 and make use of this dying combat mechanic, just move her up to like A tier.
Let's keep going. We've got Mortefi next. We can all agree he's great. The question is how great. I think he's slightly better than Chixia.
He's like the whole improve heavy attacks, right? Like he has, was it charged? I think it's either charged or heavy attacks.
Heavy attacks?
Yeah, I think it's heavy attacks. Like as you, or if they pretty much release any character that does more or is more reliant or fixated on that, I think the character's just gonna get infinitely better. But you also have to remember that he's, compared to, unfortunately, Chixia, just the better, in most cases, the better pistol user, right?
I'm
I'm
glad you
sorry.
agree.
I'm not trying to fight you.
The only character that really spams heavy, well, okay, there's two, I guess, but the main character is Jiyan, and he only spams it for like what? How many seconds? And we alternatively have Jianxin, who also spams heavy attacks, but it's Jianxin, and it's an AoE, and he is single target, so it doesn't even have like great synergy there. But yeah, I mean, him with Jiyan spamming heavy attacks is good, and even him outside of that is surprisingly good. I'm not the biggest fan of Baizhi.
Her potential is there. The question is, you would probably need quite a lot of ER. Her energy requirement is like 175. It's just like
175.
Yeah, it's like the second highest in the game. I think A is fair because I mean, in the end, including the set, it's 30% total attack percent as well as 15% undiluted modifier. Like what else do we have instead?
Yeah.
But I think she will get replaced relatively quickly.
Okay, so next character, Punching Man with a hat.
He looks cool. That's all I can say about him. I have not even calced him yet. I don't know. Literally
Blue's
nothing
Clues
about
Yuanwu.
Yuanwu.
Or Blue's Clues
Yuanwu. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't really think he looks cool. That's going to be the hottest take here.
I think if you are like a Silver Fox enjoyer, you'd wish that he didn't dye his hair. And then I think...
Okay, so where are we putting him? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, same. Somewhere between A and B, maybe. He could be either really good, but I have done zero calculations on him. I
think it's
no
fair
idea.
to put him in A. I think because like if the only reason why we aren't able to rate a character that can basically use all your fodder gear is because we're not really sure to rate him. Like, again, we could just do this metric. Do you think he is much worse or on the same tier as Chixia?
We'll put him in the A tier. All right, now we have Sanhua. I like her a lot.
Yeah, agreed.
Me too.
The question is top of A, or if we go in here super hot with an S- placement.
Probably go either top A or S-. So Sanhua is probably the best hybrid which we currently have for Encore, which is cool. He can also be played as a main DPS if you kind of want to. The problem is a little bit her sequences are really, really good, but they are mainly good for her being played as a main DPS, because in her usual hybrid rotation, you don't actually use your basic attacks, which is a little bit of a problem because you're missing out on 15% crit rate. However, she does really good damage.
She does, yeah. And she has the option of being low field time, or with, like you said, a couple constellation or sequences. She can be then a main DPS. Okay, so last two characters, I think Jiyan as well as Yinlin. I mean, there's no question that they're S tier. The question is who, I guess if we order this, do we think they're better than Verina? I think they're better than Mortefi by a bit, but
I think trying to compare, like, trying to compare maybe everyone except for Mortefi and Yinlin, who you can maybe argue are both technically like the hybrid slot. It's kind of tough, right? Because you're trying to compare, like, is Jiyan, a damage dealer, better than Verina, who's a support? Like, I think it feels a little bit tough to compare them. I think them being an S that's great.
Another argument for Jiyan. We did not talk about how he is also, I would say, like, you know how Jianxin is a Dyson, he's like a Miel vacuum, okay? This guy will suck everyone up and carry them with him, okay? So he can always be used to just vacuum up all the trash mob floors in the future too, right? Worst case scenario, you bring him in, 3 to 4 of the early ones, and he'll just clean up all the garbage for you and take it out. Then you can save.
I have to be familiar with Home Depot to be able to play Wuthering Waves. Like, what?
Okay, so I will bring one argument for Yinlin. Well, two arguments.
Oh, we moved on. Okay.
Yeah, she has really good personality, I mean.
Yes, the best one in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, she also is very flexible, so maybe we can move her tier up. Like a mommy tier, I don't know.
Another tier? Okay.
Just one more specifically for her for two good reasons.
Okay, so we've had a couple more days to bake this tier list in the oven, and I've decided to make a few adjustments based on some of the stuff I have seen. And, things are, of course, very, very subject to change. Now, I'm going to move a couple characters around. The first one being Aalto, and this is credit to the Pride Win theory crafters, who actually found a pretty decent use for him. He is a reasonable character to be paired with Jiyan, which makes him a decent Mortefi substitute for a Jiyan team, and because of that, he actually does have a reasonable role. Now, the next character I want to talk about is Yuanwu. Now, Yuanwu is in an awkward state right now. He doesn't do that much damage, and his focus is an entirely new niche, which is toughness damage. And because of this, I just think right now the meta isn't too favorable to him, because while it does help to break certain enemies, you're only talking about a short DPS window where you get that. But if in the future where toughness damage has a much higher impact depending on enemy mechanics, I can see him definitely rising. But for now, because of the fact that the current meta doesn't really favor toughness damage, I'm actually going to scoot him down into tier 2. And the next adjustment is Lingyang. Now, I'm feeling a little bit optimistic for him as we get a bit better with the game and we learn how characters work a bit better. So I'm going to do a hot take. Now, this is probably one that the rest of the tier list makers may not agree with me on, but I'm actually going to move him up to tier 1.5. On paper, the amount of damage he does is actually reasonable. Now, his main issue is mainly just in execution and play. So once players actually just get good or get better with him and get better than I ever was with him, I think he will show more promise. And finally, we have Havoc Rover, who is a really interesting main DPS character. And I have not done any calcs or seen any calcs even for this character yet. So this is super, super speculative, and I feel like it is a bit premature to even place her. My gut instinct is that she feels roughly like a tier 1.5 character. She is a main DPS character, and she seems to do a decent damage. Now, as of version 1.0, we are able to only get her to Constellation 1, so she might improve as we get more constellations for her. Do correct me if I'm wrong about her constellation count. But so far, she seems like a reasonable main DPS character. Nothing ground-shattering, but maybe she is better than I expect. Again, this is very preliminary placements, and this is still version 1.0 before the meta has really settled. Now, one final adjustment is actually Sanhua. I think she has been aging really well, and the fact that she just requires so little field time and she is just such a powerful character for supporting multiple different teams, especially teams like Encore, teams like even Lingyang, and just any basic attack damage dealing character, Sanhua is going to be incredible. So I'm actually going to move her up to tier 0.5. So there you go. Here is my final version 1.0 tier list. Of course, it goes without saying to please take everything with a giant mountain of salt, and ultimately you should play who you want to play. But if you're curious about my opinion after thinking about it for way too much, along with collaborating with other creators, this is where I have personally settled on for my placements of each character as of version 1.0. Let me know down in the comments below what you agree with and disagree with. Thank you so much for joining, and hopefully this tier list, I guess, will age like milk, because that will make some good additional content in the future. So I hope you guys at least had some fun watching us, and maybe we provided some insight that was valuable or not. Just do let us know.